Welcome to the Conscious Investor. Let's get started.
I've been looking forward to recording with Eyal for a million years. And one of the coolest things is that I mispronounced his name for, I think, 2 full years. And you never once got angry or frustrated or mad at me. So I'm like, you're just amazing. I am so excited to have you on the show. So welcome, Eyal, to the Conscious Investor.
Julie, I can't thank you enough. Obviously, your platform is tremendous, and I'm very excited to be a part of it, of course. So.
It's so cool. I think we have a pretty cool origin story because we got to know each other during a difficult time in our country and the world. So I'd love to hear, I mean, I talk about things so much, so maybe I can put that on your lap and say, like, what do you remember about that?
It's amazing, right? Because at the time, we were actually checking out Florida because we're going to make a move, seeing how the world is transitioning. And obviously you started this accountability group, which jumped right into. And of course, we all leaned on you, right? So everybody in that group was just leaning on Julie to basically come up with information and ask us the questions and be a part of it. So no, it was amazing, obviously, while it lasted. It's amazing to see the growth that we both had since then. And just like I said, very excited to be here. So.
That was the best. Like in that time, I just remember thinking, I'm going to lose all of this momentum that I'm starting to get. I think you and I had both joined a mentorship program, and I'm never ashamed to say, like, I loved becoming a warrior, part of Rod Khleif's group and the support system. And that's initially how you and I met, and how we met a lot of really like amazing, extraordinary people. And starting that accountability group was like me reaching out saying, like, oh crap, I can't lose this momentum. I've got to keep this. I need other people around me outside accountability. And through that, I mean, I look at what you've accomplished. I look at where I've gone. I look at where Nick's gone. I look at where Omid is. And I'm just like, oh my gosh.
That's amazing.
It's so cool.
We should definitely circle back to that one day and kind of jump on a phone call with everybody again and just see what they're up to. I mean, initially you start these things because everybody's lost and nobody knows what to do or what the next step is. So, you just try to jump on it blind, and obviously you grow from there. Even these little steps, though, people don't see how far they get you.
So where are you at now? I mean, like, you made this transition, and that was a very deliberate, conscious choice to move New York down. By the way, when we're looking at the weather right now, great choice. Great choice. You're missing out on all the cold weather. I'm totally jealous. You're all tan, and us Northerners are all like frigid, white, pasty.
Just had like a 3-day winter storm.
That was a very deliberate choice.
Yeah.
I know exactly. So like you and your wife, your family, you guys were very deliberate, very conscientious about like, okay, this is the transition we're going to make. So what was that like? You have a large family. How did that go down?
It was scary, to be honest with you. I mean, we came here back in May of 2020. We stayed in Airbnb for a month, believe it or not. And physically, when we got back to Jersey, at the time I was living in Jersey, just basically decided to put up the house for sale and get out of there. But again, listen, obviously COVID affected everybody's lives differently. And we were just looking at the outside world saying, okay, my kids are not staying in 8-hour masks in school, and they're not doing this and they're not doing that. So we try to kind of go to a freedom state that obviously lets you be responsible over your choices. So.
Yeah. And that's also been amazing for your investing as well. So, that's really cool, because I always talk about how when we follow our passions and when we follow the things that we feel, are calling us or beckoning to us in some capacity, like, we're rewarded for that. And so you follow this, we're making a transition for our family, but it also has this amazing byproduct with your investing. So tell us about that.
Yeah, that was one of the end goals, right? So listen, at the end of the day, we always want to be in Florida. Obviously, it happens much sooner than expected. But yeah, it kind of paved the way for us, right? Because I did want to be around Rod. I did want to be around Robert at the time, and that got me in the door, right? So when I first moved here, I had a cup of coffee with Robert. I met him a bunch of times at this point, and obviously I've been around Rod's house as well. So just very exciting to be around these. You know, we look at them like superheroes. Obviously, they don't look at themselves like that. So just amazing.
I kind of treat people as like equals, and it freaks some people out because I'm just gonna say I've been around some people in an international setting when I was hosting this huge international event, and I was asked to come and host it, and I started looking at who these people were, and I literally just freaked out. I thought I'm not qualified for this. And it was like tons of fintech and in areas where I'm not an expert, but I was just like there to host and introduce and keep the conversation flowing. Right. And I'm curious, it worked out. But I mean, talk about having to dial things down and realize, and having Rod on my podcast, and like he is like one of those fixtures, but he always like just comes down to like, he treats everybody with such grace and kindness, and that it's like you feel his humanness, and you feel an instant connection because you're like, oh, you're extraordinarily successful, and you're this leader that so many of us look up to, but you're also like, you show your human side. So I remind myself that everybody uses the washroom. That's my clean version.
I'm telling you, we have the same, I think, mind at that point, because, you know, when you do get to go on a podcast, or when you do get to be surrounded like people like you always look at yourself and you're saying, wow, what did I do to deserve this? But you must have done something right? So that they want you on their show, and they want you to host, and they want you to keep the conversation flowing. So it's great. It's just great to see. And like you said, always stay humble. So definitely.
Yeah, humility is great. So tell me about raising capital and partnering. Let me rephrase that correctly. Tell me about partnering and bringing investors into deals.
It's amazing, right? That just happened out of the blue. And I think the best things that ever happened to you in life just happened out of the blue, right? Yep. So Rod reached out to me one day before they were doing the San Antonio deal, and really got into like a 5-minute conversation. I don't even know how we got on topic, but he was asking, do you think you could bring anything to the table? And I said, well, I feel like I have a lot of good following, and I could help raise money. And they ended up doing so in that deal, and obviously became a GP in that deal. So like I said, not planned, happened out of nowhere, and kind of helped me find my niche as well.
That's really cool. Because a lot of people, they're trying to force things. I feel like, I mean, let me ask you this. What do you think? I mean, I see a lot of people and they're like, I'm going to force them to make this happen. And you're all kicking back, working remotely down in this nice, warm, beachy.
I just feel like, you know what, I learned that from my accounting profession, right? You can never force things anyway, right? So if somebody wants to be a client, they'll be a client because they connected with you. I have connections with financial advisors, and the conversation is always, oh, refer me business, I'll refer you business. You know, when I meet my clients, I'll tell them, hey, you got to go to this accountant. I tell them, listen, if somebody's happy with whoever they have, they're never changing. Unless they're looking for it, they're not doing it. And that's not the relationship that you want. You don't want somebody to force somebody else on you, because then you obviously have higher expectations. So again, word of mouth, be laid back. Even investors that I get along with, obviously when you do this more often, the word gets around. So people actually start reaching out to you. But just try to educate them, tell them what's in front of me, tell them the deals that I have in front of me that I'm trying to race for. And if they're interested, they'll do it. You know, I just don't like to put pressure on them.
Yeah.
And start letting Drew
hold on and do the Cardone sales, all of his closing techniques. You're like, I'm just not going there.
No, I don't. So I mean, that's how the word spreads. I mean, I don't advertise, I don't do this, but yet, thank God, in the last 7 years, it probably grew my business 10 to 20% a year. So
yeah. Yeah. And those are the best people that you have in your life, are the people because they're loyal to you. They gravitate towards you and they become your ambassadors. And that's what we want. All of you awesome listeners, that's what we all aim for. You know, you can become a listener of Eyal's group You could become an ambassador, a listener. Apparently need to have a little more coffee here. An ambassador. Let me backtrack here, but that's what everybody wants is, people to make people so happy that they want to be an ambassador for what they are consuming and whatever that is. If that's I'm in this great investment, I'm listening to a podcast, or I've gone to an event, it's like you want to do something so well, everybody wants to talk about it.
Of course, 100%. I mean, I feel like I have the personality for it anyway. When I speak to people, I'm very high energy, so people gravitate to that. I feel like I have a little bit of advantage, but but again, if you're passionate enough, just like you are with your podcast and with your education, if you're passionate about something, people will follow.
Our temperaments, I think, are very kindred spirits. We're high energy, engaged, and like people and talking and. But some people struggle with it, and so it's easy. I'll say for myself, it's kind of easy to convey. If I'm excited about something, the whole world's going to know about it, But some people feel a little resistance to that. What would you say to encourage people to push through that resistance?
So I have a little bit of a story. So I have a good friend of mine that's actually very successful, probably makes 7 figures. W-2 job, the whole works. And I look at him and I say to him all the time, like, listen, I'm getting into this. Obviously, I would want to put you in deals that I go into so we could feel the same pain. And people feel more comfortable with that as well. But he called me up the other day and he said, listen, if I sign you up to my Marcus account, if I refer them, they'll give me 0.06% on my money in the bank. And I'm looking at him and saying, Donnie, hold on a second. I'm offering you 10%. But you want to go for something that's 0.06%. And what am I missing here? But like you said, a lot of people, I don't know, I guess they get shy or they get scared or they overanalyze. He's definitely one of those people that overanalyze. And I just try to get him comfortable. So I did get him into 2 deals in 2021. And hopefully that will open up the door for us to do a lot more business together. So
that's a big step right there. That he, jumped into 2 deals, not just one,
Him, I must say I was pressuring, but he's a friend, so I could get away with that.
That's a little different. You may or may not have bought him a couple of beers that night.
Exactly. Like get him drunk enough. All right, make this happen. I'll call him the next day. I'll be like, I don't remember any of this stuff. Hold on.
Right, exactly. Okay, so it seems so easy, right? Like you really do. You make everything seem so easy, and people are listening and they're like, oh man, I wish it were that easy for me. I wish I could, just jump into deals or have the courage to move my family or fill in the blanks. Like, what would you say to encourage those people in taking the very next step?
I always like to say, again, I actually spoke to a couple of new warriors that came into the group, and everybody wants to go from 0 to 100. And I agree because I want to do the same thing. So I get what they're saying. But it's little steps every day. You educate yourself, you talk to other people, little step like that, just putting in the seeds in the ground and watching it grow. So that's what I would encourage people, just to take baby steps, not to overwhelm themselves and think that they're going to go from here to here in one day. Stop comparing yourself to other people, please. And just do yourself. Just do what you're good at. Let people listen to you. And if you're passionate enough, they will follow. I'm telling you.
Oh, I think that's that whole comparing yourself to others. And especially when you're first just getting into this niche, you can really find yourself comparing yourself to other people that came in around the same time that you're aware of. And you're like, oh, look how far ahead they are. They're further than me or this or that. And it's like, you don't know their backstory and you also don't know the deals they're in. So I'm like,
you don't.
They could be great. They could be not so good. It could go either way, but you just have to live out your own journey in your own time. So I know my first year, I didn't close anything, and I didn't close anything until near the end of my last year, or till like near the end. It's like Q3 of my second year. So that's a long time to be patient. I was still investing passively and doing other things and growing and learning and networking and like you said, that discipline of like planting those seeds and watering them and just being consistent is so powerful, and it creates that snowball effect.
1,000%. And I like, again, like you said, consistency is the key. And everybody always puts a timetable. Stop putting a timetable. Just do what you can and you will get there. The end result is still going to be the same if you gave yourself a year and a half. It doesn't matter. As long as you get to that end result, it doesn't matter how long it took. So that's the mind.
That's so true. So what have you had to overcome? Like you as a human being, I know I've had to do some like serious personal growth in order to like grow my business. So I feel like my business, anytime it comes to a point to where it's kind of not stagnating, but not maintaining the momentum and trajectory that I want, I always have to look inward and say like, all right, girl, where do you need to grow? Like, I know now to do that. I'm like, okay, what's the stop? Where's my growth moment? So where have you seen the most growth for you as a person?
Just again, like you said, I mean, basically taking a step back, making sure of the niche that I want to create to myself, right? So obviously being an accountant, everybody always leans that, hey, I'm going to be this overanalyzer and I'm going to be the numbers guy. And
you can be the underwriter.
I try to shy away from that completely because I love talking to people. I love to see what's on their mind. And again, I have a little bit of advantage because I do see their financials, right? So I see their taxes and I could see who needs this and who needs to be in something like this. And hopefully they let me chew their ear for a little bit and it makes sense to them. But that's what I had to overcome. I had to overcome to see exactly where I want to focus my attention. Yeah. Which I was always lost in that. I probably found that out probably in the last 6 months, but for the last year or so, I never knew what that niche was. So.
Did that come about with that raise that you did?
I think that's what made me feel a lot more comfortable, right? So speaking to Rod and actually meeting that goal, because initially I think I promised $750,000. He was hoping for $1 million raise, and they ended up raising 1.45. So. It definitely helped to see that. So it definitely helped to see that I was able to accomplish it. And obviously you gain confidence, right, by doing so. So that helped a lot.
Big time. Getting into a deal. That's why I think Michael Blanc always refers to the law of your first deal. It's just, you get the confidence. You got to cut your teeth somehow. I mean, it's just not going to happen. You know, learning to ride a bike, you got to get on the bike. The bike's not going to move unless you're actually on it trying to pedal.
It's true. And, you know, again, us in the outside, or especially when you join the program, you're always hoping that somebody's going to reach out to you and going to ask you specifically for what they need. It doesn't work like that, right? You have to show them your value and hopefully you're a niche to them. So it's always the opposite. But again, we've all been there. So, you know, I was there myself and thinking, oh, yeah, I could provide so much help, but I was never able to define what that help is. You know what I mean? So
that's a really critical point right there. Is like, you have to have that clarity. And I believe in that just through coaching. It's like, as soon as you get clarity on something, then it's the momentum comes because you know where you're going, but when you're uncertain about it. And so, you know, having so many conversations and being willing to, you know, double down in a certain area is a powerful, but you can't do that until you get that clarity.
Yes, without a doubt. You just hit it on the head. Clarity is definitely the main word there. So
I'm a huge advocate for clarity. Okay, you said, and I have to go back, and I'm totally going to pull this out as a clip. No, I'm just kidding. But you were like, I can see exactly who this is going to benefit. I'm doing their taxes, and I see who this is going to benefit. So, like, right. You know, who do you find for, you know, your investment group? Like, who do you find is like most benefited, or who listeners, you know, like which listeners should be like, red flag, you're only getting 0.06 and you're losing out because of inflation. Like, get your money into a deal now. Like, who are those people?
Yeah, so I have a bunch of clients. You know, typically they're older because they have a little bit of savings, and I just see from their bank statement, right? So if I see somebody that's getting high interest, that tells me, especially in today's interest rates from the banks, tells me that they have a bunch of money sitting there. And I always like to ask that question, like, what is that money doing for you? If you're not making it work, I mean, you got to think the way the bank is thinking. If you're giving Chase $250,000, they're taking that money and loaning that out 7 times over, probably averaging 20 to 30% on that money. You're averaging 0.006%. Yes, you have the security blanket to see your money and that it's sitting there, but what does that really do for you? And that gets them thinking, right? So just again, like I said, to plant that seed in their head, just to get them thinking about something, and then if they're interested, they'll follow up with me at that point. So
Yeah. Yeah.
everybody always says, what do you have in mind? So kind of opens the door for at least a 10-15 minute conversation.
That's nice. That's really
Mhm.
nice. And ultimately, I mean, I know you well enough. The listeners are just meeting, many of them are, just meeting you and everything through the podcast. But I know Eyal's heart. Like, he has this huge, ginormous heart and cares about people. So I'm like, I know, some people might be like, oh gosh, he's just doing that for it. I'm like, yeah, but who cares? It should be a win-win. Everybody can win. And that's the beauty. It's like, why would anyone want to see money just sitting in a bank, just atrophying away because of inflation and a lack of return, when there is a solution and you have that solution? And I love that.
Number one, you're amazing, Julie, because you just hit what I was thinking. So it is amazing. Everybody always thinks that there's a second side to it. And being a professional as far as an accountant, kind of like a double-edged sword, right? Because now you're selling your clients on something else, and they're looking at you and saying, okay, what is he? I mean, everybody always thinks that, right? What is his benefit from this? And that's a question, right? Why is he selling me on this? And truthfully, I mean, again, take this income, generate passive income, because this is true passive income, and just take that ride with me and you'll see what I mean. So just to get them into that place, into investing, and to show them what it really means.
Yeah. And it's huge. I mean, just that money sitting around. I'd like to see people's money grow, because it's like, when I think about the economy and I think about the benefit of having, more money circulating in the economy, or more money like growing within, it's like, right. I want to help people grow their wealth, because it's going to support their family, their livelihood, and it's going to actually really support and help our country. Like, let's grow our money.
It is, though. You're right, because when you get people stop thinking about money and they see that machine, a well-oiled machine, is working for them, now it's amazing how they could open their brains and hearts and think of other people, right? So just by doing that, you're creating a better place in this world. So just that little help that basically shifts their, hey, I have $1,000 bill coming on, but you know what? My passive income is going to cover that. Well, now it opens their hearts to basically say, wow, now I'm making too much money. Let me try to give it away. So It's just amazing how that works. Really is.
Have you noticed this? I've noticed that the more generous I am, I feel like the more money I have.
Yes, it's true.
It's such a weird thing. I'm like, the more you like tip people really well and give it away in these little ways throughout, your transactions, it just seems, and just, through however you're doing the giving part, it just seems like it comes back. It's like this boomerang effect where I just gave it away. Wait, it's coming back to me in this other capacity.
And it comes back to you double fold. It's just amazing. So it's like you look at the next month and you're like, wow, now I could double up my donations, or I could do this, or I could do that. So it's just amazing. And just like, obviously Rod has his little not-for-profit organization, which I took my girls out to help with that as well. So just doing these things, I don't know, it makes you feel so much better about yourself, and obviously kind of helps the soul, right? So it really helps out.
And I think with anything like that, if it helps even one person, I mean, randomly, even the random effect of, I was in Columbus, Ohio doing due diligence. I went into this coffee shop. I had gotten turned away because I didn't have a mask. I know you get that, because where I live, I'm not used to masks, right? And so I'm like, oh man, I don't have a mask on me. Bummer. I'm not getting coffee today. They won't serve me. So I go back before I leave. A couple days later, I'm like, I hear it's good coffee. I'm going to go back. I make sure I have a mask. I go in, I grab a cup of coffee, and I'm standing by the door at this standing workspace. And this gentleman walks in, no mask, and he gets turned away. And so I'm like, because he doesn't have a mask. And I stopped and said, hey, can I buy you a cup of coffee? I was in your shoes. I totally get it.
Amazing.
And he just waited outside and, took him whatever. I don't know what it was, but it's just like these little things where I think, like, if you're doing something with a nonprofit, great, that's great. If you're doing something where it's just one person who they're just having that moment, and that guy can buy his cup of coffee. That wasn't going to be an issue. He's a businessman. He's fine. He's set, right? That's a total putting somebody into a box stereotype. But, it was more that humanity, that human moment. And I think that's what you were maybe alluding to, is like that connection that we have as human beings amongst each other. It's like, if I go and I help out with these backpacks, or help out with the turkey dinner, or help out in these different capacities, I am reminding people that we're humans, we're connected, we're together, somebody's got their back.
Not amazing. Yes. I mean, that's what we're missing in the last couple of years is humanity. So amazing. Everybody's, brainwashed to see what the news is telling them, what they should be doing. But ultimately, when it comes down to it, we're still human beings. And no matter if I believe in masks and you don't, if I have the chance to help you, I will definitely do it. So 1,000%. I mean, you hit it on the head. Humanity is definitely a big role. And we're definitely lacking that in the last couple of years or so.
Oh, you're coming on the podcast as a regular guest now, because you basically say like, yes, Julie. Yeah, it's awesome. High five. No kidding.
It is. I'm telling you. You're kind of reading my mind where I want to go with this, and obviously saying it before me. So it's amazing.
It's kind of like we know each other a little bit, or something. Bit, like, right? We used to wake up at 5 a.m. and hop on a Zoom call to be accountable.
That is true. That is true. But no, it really is. And again, like I said, I mean, it gives, just by having these passive income and having these income streams, gives people the ability to think more and to kind of not worry about, hey, doing another 10 hours in the job or 20 hours in the job, and opens their minds and hearts. So it's a very important role. Just these little things could affect everybody. So
I love it. Mm-hmm. See, I want to default and call you Eyal. Sorry. See, I'm like, I trained myself for 2 years because you didn't correct me. Parting thoughts, any last, gems? You're already dropping like this whole treasure trove, filling it up. But any last gems you'd like to drop out to the listeners?
Again, like I just, if you're going to get started in this, just get educated. That's all I got to say. So it doesn't matter like anything else. I mean, thank God, I thank God I stumbled on Rod's podcast and I got educated that way. But anything, if you have a long drive, just put on a podcast, put on Julie's podcast, just get educated. In the meantime, again, before you run, we always like to walk before we run. So just get educated, get comfortable, and obviously jump in it. So.
Yeah, don't be afraid to take that move. Just keep moving forward. Just take a step forward every single day, one little tiny step. I love it.
Even if you do nothing, Julie, at least you have another education, right? So just like everybody says, is that I thought, hey, once I get out of college, I'm done studying for tests. I'm done getting any other licenses. But really, you're right, just beginning. So today, I probably read 100,000 times more books than I read through first to 12th grade. So I don't know if you consider it Audible, at least.
My turn. 1,000% agreed on that one. Definitely have done more reading. So before we sign off, what is your favorite book or the most influential book at this moment? It'll change.
You know what? I like the high energy, right? So I really do like the energy buzz, believe it or not. That gets me excited. It gets me motivated to actually go out there and deal with my day. So I love that book as far as that goes. But, I listen to a lot of books right now. I'm in the middle of, I'm going to tell you right now, because I don't remember them off the top of my head, but I'm in the middle of High Performance Habits right now. So listening to that. And again, it just puts everything that you listen to, it kind of puts your life in perspective, right? It shows you that everybody's been there. Everybody had the same questions, and, follow people that have been there before. And obviously, like everybody else says, don't reinvent the wheel, just follow the wheel.
Such amazing advice. If you are listening and you haven't read or listened to High Performance Habits, that was a game changer for me. My coach was on me for a year, encouraging me for a year to read it. I finally read it. That launched my book club. So if you're interested in reading in community, reach out, go to julieholly.com, sign up for, info on the book club. But reading will absolutely change your life. And think you can listen to High Performance Habits for free via Brendon Burchard's podcast. I think it's season 2. I'm not sure, but he has a whole thing there because he really wants to help people.
That's
Gosh,
awesome.
it's so good. So look, I'm like, you just need to like somehow like shoot laser darts at me, Eyal. So sorry. It's like seriously such a, names are Dale Carnegie names are so critical and you're so precious. My habit will be broken. You're rebuilding your website. My brand Sherpa and Eyal are now connected, and I'm so excited because I know that I like it when people who have similar energies are like working together, because it's magical. So it'll be fun, which is, I think work should be fun also.
Of course.
But so if you go there, go to his website now. I'll let you talk. I'm doing all the talking here. Sorry. Tell us about what's going on with your website and where people should go.
Yeah, so I'm rebuilding the website, obviously, as we speak. It's probably going to be a couple of months down the road, but my website is Ohana IG, stands for investmentgroup.com. I love my last name just because, again, it means family, so you can utilize it a lot of different ways. But that's where the website is going to be, rebranding everything, and looking forward for the end result. It's going to be amazing.
Oh, it will be amazing. She brings everybody's soul. I've seen all of the different people, and like every site is different because it brings out the individual and their company so well in the mission. So I'm really excited. So make sure you check out ohanaig.com. There will be a link in the show notes as always. And do you want them to connect on any social handles or anything?
No, but they could reach out to me via email if anybody has any questions or want to get connected. Eyal@ohanaig.com. So just my first name and my website.com.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Eyal, for coming on the show. Thank you for being wonderful, you, and just gracious, kind, ambitious, and driven, and out to change the world in such powerful ways.
Awesome, Julie. I appreciate everything again, and just you're amazing. And keep on doing what you're doing. That's all I can say.
Thanks. And to all you amazing listeners, make sure you take a moment, rate and review the episode. You can only do that over on Apple Podcasts at this time. So if you do that, that would mean the world to me, because it helps get voices like Eyal's out, people out there supporting and helping people growing their passive income. And that changes lives, that changes communities, and it changes the way things function and operate in a powerful way. So help spread the word in that way. And until next time, live big, love bigger.
Feeling alone? Disconnected? Conscious investors often feel alone or disconnected because of their unique perspective and desire to expand their thinking. But the journey of a lifetime isn't meant to be solo or forged by grit alone. Join the Conscious Investor community on Facebook. Link arms, exchange ideas, and expand your thinking on finances, relationship, and community. Join the Conscious Investor group on Facebook today.